I think the first thing is that the way that we are operating the Teaching School Hub here at Leeds, and my role as a director for the Early Career Framework, it is very much about I having the facility to be able to go into all of our partner schools as and when they need me, but also on average at least once a term. And for some schools, particularly some of the smaller primary schools, that has been more often simply from the point of view of being able to offer them reassurance, being able to actually show them how to navigate the platform, going back and reassuring them that actually they are fulfilling everything that they should be doing in terms of the framework alongside statutory induction. And reassuring them, for example, with regards to weekly mentor meetings and whether they can deviate from the materials that they're reading each week. So I think that's a big thing for us, the quality of the relationship between us at Leeds Teaching School Hub, which we've wanted to personalise with all of the schools with whom we're working. I think the other thing, of course, is that other level of support that you would get through the full induction programme, as opposed to core or doing a do-it-yourself programme, which is another layer of experts who are called our facilitators. And we've taken great pains to make sure that our facilitators are who we believe are the best colleagues working with us from within Leeds Teaching School, but also from our strategic partner group. And I think that level of support from outside of their school is reassuring, one, in terms of pastoral support that ECTs and mentors may have, but secondly, it's another guarantee for UCL and the DFE that the framework is being delivered and in a way that is highly impactful and certainly being delivered by passionate expert teachers. And so ECTs and mentors are receiving yet another layer of support and professional development from experts in their field.
I think there are huge benefits for schools using the full induction programme with UCL. I think the first benefit is time. There are huge time-saving benefits. The materials are high quality. We know there's fidelity to the framework. They've been quality assured by academics. They've been quality assured by professionals in school. And essentially what schools receive is a full package of resource and support. But what I really like about the material is that they can be adapted to purpose. So schools can look at their context and use the materials in a really sensitive way.
So from our region's perspective, the full induction programme was extremely appealing, largely because it was we've actually done lots of work with facilitators. So we've actually got a core group of people who are in schools within our area, and therefore they're the ones that are delivering training to the schools in their cluster, which means that people have got that ability to create networks and make things more sustainable long term. In terms of doing the full rather than the core induction, the fact that we've actually got people who are doing the facilitation takes some of the onus off schools themselves, and they don't therefore need to do it. And in terms of writing your own, well, why would you? If you've got something that is high quality that's there and provided for you, why would you want to invest that amount of time and expense in creating something that you've then got to have checked for fidelity?
Yeah. I think I'd also add that, the schools being in cluster groups in their, based in the geographical regions means that early career teachers who are doing it aren't just getting it in-house, if you like. They're getting the chance to meet with other early career teachers who are having maybe slightly different experiences from themselves in other schools in their area. And that kind of, I feel quite strongly that connecting with other schools in your area and collaborating and meeting other people is a really important part of being a teacher and becoming a sort of professional.
Yeah. And it also prevents the danger of silo working. because it's only the way you only see the way it's done in your organisation, and therefore there's a danger that it becomes institutionalised.
There are very, very few schools in our area that have chosen to do anything other than the full induction programme. So it's hard for me to answer a comparison because there isn't a great deal of comparison. I'm delighted to say that the majority of schools have understood the value of the full induction programme, understood that there are already high quality resources and materials fully funded by the DFE that are available and can therefore be tapped into for your early career teachers. So it makes perfect sense to me that the majority of schools have chosen the full induction programme. One or two schools who were concerned right at the very beginning of the process that they may not be able to still provide what is unique about their induction programs. There were some schools, understandably, that were saying to us, actually, we're really interested in the full induction programme, Ian, but we've already got a strong induction for what were our NQTs and now will become our ECTs. So we were able to work with those schools and talk about how they can still have the strengths of their programme, but also, of course, with the full induction programme, have the high quality resources from yourselves, our high quality facilitators from strategic partners across the region. That's all organised and paid for them. The training for mentors is there. And so all of those things in terms of the full coverage of the new statutory framework is there for the full induction. So I think people have that reassurance that everything is covered. The other thing, Stephen, that I ought to mention, in slightly going down a tangent, I hope that's okay, is the flexible programme that University College London provide as one of the kind of options of poverty has proved enormously helpful. Correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding that originally was designed with people who were perhaps part-time in mind, who might be not full-time, who could then keep up with the kind of full programme and cover the full range, but maybe not at as much depth. And then over time they could revisit in that spiral learning form. That's been really helpful for some of those part-time staff. But also, which is about 10% of our ECTs, but also it's been really helpful where, through the pandemic, there have been periods of time where there have been absences and people feel as though they're behind and therefore they need to catch up. So one of the things that we've been able to support ECTs in that situation to consider as an option, and the feedback has been that it's been a very positive option where they've taken it up, is to consider using the flexible pathway. So the full breadth is covered, they catch up for a period of time and then go back to the full programme as that goes forward. So I think some of that flexibility whilst still covering the full induction programme has been largely very reassuring to schools. So certainly the feedback we've had so far, with 96% of our ECTs and 95% of our mentors saying that this is making a significant difference to the outcomes for pupils in their classroom with their teaching practice, immediately I start to think, what about the other 4 and 5%? But 95 and 96% is a win, isn't it? So yeah, the feedback thus far suggests that the full induction programme and the decisions that school have made is something that's working very well.
At this point in time, I think I can only speak anecdotally about that, because it's a difficult one. I think we'll have a much clearer idea perhaps in a few months, or when we move into this, when this becomes really embedded in schools, as we move into the next academic year. But I think the feedback that we've had so far for those who are doing the full induction programme is that they've got a point of reference, and that's been really useful. So the fact that the difference between the curriculum of the ECF and the assessment part through the appropriate body has sometimes been, for a lot of schools, especially smaller schools, quite difficult to navigate at times, actually. And I think that working with us, we've got a team that can respond very quickly and give more bespoke support to schools. So in terms of how ECTs are actually moving along this continuum, if you like, of the ECF, that's far more difficult to see at this point in time in terms of retention. But we will know that in time, I think next year. I think for schools that are going to be offering the full induction programme, when it becomes embedded, that's something that could be a real attraction to people who are starting their career, so that they know that their school that they're joining, because that is such an important decision where you start your career, as we all know. And I think if you know that your school is really signing up to this programme of really astute, bespoke, professional development, which concentrates on moving you on in your career, that will be really, really good. And it will be something that I think for schools should really see as a selling point, because, you know, it is a commitment. So there's sort of two sides to that: the commitment to the schools in supporting them through this, especially as we're all learning still at this moment in time, but also the commitment to the ECTs.